Hey guys, it's Primus here, and welcome to another Mass Effect update. Here, I'll be talking about anything related to Mass Effect, including Mass Effects 1, 2, and 3, but mostly I'll be talking about Mass Effect 3 since that is the current game that is out as we speak, alright? So with no further ado, let's start this. Okay guys, the first thing I want to talk about is the new N7 Bounty Weekend that's coming up this week, alright? It is from October 5th through the 7th of 2012, mind you, and basically it's called Operation Overdrive, alright? And usually if you go to the Mass Effect website, it has this kind of little synopsis of what it's all about and everything. Basically the squad goal, the allied goal, the circumstances, what do you get from winning this, and also a little synopsis of what this operation's all about. So let me actually read you guys a little synopsis of what this operation is all about. And it says here, quote, "Based on intel recovered during Operation Patriot, we are anticipating a massive strike from the Reapers on multiple fronts. Our information officers and special ops teams stationed behind enemy lines require immediate extraction," end quote. And that's basically all it says. You know, it's kind of a little giving a backstory to why we're doing this operation and whatnot, right? Now on to the squad goal, all right? The squad goal is pretty simple. It says here, full extraction on any map at any difficulty in 20 minutes or less. That's kind of funny. Kind of sounds like a pizza deal. 20 minutes or less, or it's free. But here it's 20 minutes or less, and you'll survive. All right, and that's a good deal in my opinion. And basically, the squads can be any size. You can play by yourself apparently, or you can play with people up to 2, 3, and 4 people in your squad if you want. And the allied goal, basically what we have to do as a group, as an entirety, as a community, including the PS3, Xbox 360, and PC, is to basically complete 200,000 extraction waves on any difficulty. Squads can be any size, and it doesn't have to be a full extraction. And if you don't know what that means, basically it's saying that you don't have to have your full party extracted. It could be a partial extraction or full extraction. Doesn't really matter, right? I think this is going to be pretty simple. I think all of us can do this. I usually do about a few dozen extractions on a weekend if I have nothing else to do, right? And to be honest, I really have nothing else to do this weekend, so it's going to be awesome, okay? And your typical squad goal is a combination pack, and an allied goal is a victory pack, and that's it. No other new DLC patches for this, no new guns coming out or anything like that. Just a combination pack for succeeding the goal, the squad goal, and a victory pack for succeeding the allied goal, right? So I'll see you guys out there. That's pretty much it for this N7 Bounty Weekend. I'll keep you posted on anything else, and also look next week because I will post an update on this operation of whether or not we failed or passed, okay? So on to the next thing, all right? Okay guys, the next thing I want to talk about is the Mass Effect Trilogy. This is basically a bundle that BioWare is releasing that's going to include all 3 Mass Effect games, and it's also going to include an artwork bundle book. Basically, it's going to contain all the designs and art styles that the BioWare team had when they were developing all 3 games, right? But mind you, today I'm going to be talking about what DLC is going to be included in this bundle. Okay, another thing you have to take into account is that each version of this bundle, meaning the different console versions, are gonna have different add-ons and whatnot. All right. For instance, the PC version is gonna have Mass Effect 1 DLC. All right. Basically, it's gonna have the Bring Down the Sky and the Pinnacle Station DLC on the disc already. You don't have to pay separately. Unfortunately, Xbox 360 people are going to have to pay the $1 and $5 for this DLC. I don't know why. Don't ask me what's the reason. Apparently, they're just doing that. I guess, it's just $1 plus $5 more or whatever. I guess they can make more money out of that, right? For Mass Effect 2, the PC version will include the Cerebus Network, which includes Zaid, The Price of Revenge, the Firewalker Pack, Cerebus Assault Gear, Arc Projector Weapon, and the Normandy Crash Mission, alright? Nothing else on Kasumi's thing or the Overlord, was it Overload or Overlord? Overlord DLC, I believe. Nothing on that as of now, right? And the PC version for Mass Effect 3 will include the online pass. So you guys who want to play the multiplayer, you're going to be able to with this online pass on this version, all right? The Xbox 360 version, will also include the online pass too for Mass Effect 3, and also the Xbox 360 version will also include the service network for Mass Effect 2. So basically, the PC version and Xbox 360 version are going to be identical, except Mass Effect DLC will only be available on the PC version for free. Okay, and the PS3 version. Nothing has been released on that yet. No information on what DLC is going to be released on that version of the bundle. Mind you, the only thing that we know so far is that people out there who just want to buy Mass Effect 1 can buy Mass Effect 1 through the PlayStation Network. So you guys out there who don't want to buy the entire bundle just to get the first game, guess what? You can just go to the PSN Network and just download the first game, right? And that's pretty much it for the Mass Effect Trilogy update. There's not really much on this. Xbox 360 and PC people, you get the service network and the online pass for Mass Effect 3. So that's pretty cool, but no word on the PS3. Sorry guys, I guess we have to wait a little bit longer. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. Okay, so on to the next subject. Okay guys, the last thing I want to talk about is something really big in my opinion, alright? Probably even bigger than the Mass Effect 3 patch that's coming out and whatnot, okay? And that is a new multiplayer DLC. And you're probably wondering, oh great, another piece of shit multiplayer DLC just like the other ones. Well, before you start jumping to conclusions, let me tell you what this DLC is all about, alright? It's actually called Retaliation Multiplayer DLC. Okay, and what's so unique about this DLC is that there's a lot of content on it, and I mean a lot. Alright, the first thing you guys should know, it's coming out October 9th, alright, in North America, and it's on all consoles, PS3, Xbox 360, and PC, and it's free. And for you European people out there, it comes out October 10th, alright? Yeah, I know that kind of sucks and whatnot, but hey, that always happens with the European people, right? And so you're probably wondering, what's so special about this Retaliation pack? Well, the thing is, there's gonna be a new enemy faction, alright? You're probably, what enemy faction could it be? Well, guess what? It is the Collectors, that's right. Everybody's been wanting this. Actually, many of my videos, people have commented that having the Collectors as an enemy would be a great addition to the multiplayer, and guess what? It looks like BioWare answered everyone's cries, and that's what we're getting. Some of the Collectors that are included in this faction are the Praetorian, which I believe are the giant-looking Reaper bug creatures or whatnot. So the big guys that are Mass Effect 2 that shoot those beams that have like a lot of barrier and armor and whatnot. Then you have the Scions, are basically the guys in Mass Effect 2 that shot the shockwaves and had a lot of armor as well. They're kind of the brutes of Mass Effect 2, if you would, sort of. But this time around, I noticed they're kind of different because if you look at the original Scions from Mass Effect 2, it looked like they had a tumor on their back. Now they look like an overgrown steroid freak version of a husk. And then also, speaking of husks, they also have the Abomination husk, alright? And if you guys remember from Mass Effect 2, the Abomination was, the difference between a regular husk was that it was red. It was a little bit more aggressive, and when it came close to you, it would self-destruct and basically have like fire damage and whatnot to your characters. The next thing is the Trooper character, and the Trooper character is your typical regular Trooper Collector and whatnot, it just attacked you normally. It wasn't really that strong. It was just more of an annoying than anything else. And then finally, there's the Captain Collector, which I believe is a new character because in Mass Effect 2, they didn't really have a captain character. They had the possessed Trooper character. But this Captain Collector, actually, what's unique about it is that he has a little bit more armor. He's a little bit light-skinned. And also the fact that he has horns coming out of his head, I guess to represent the devil, pure evil, if you would, and whatnot, very demonic looking. And that's pretty cool in my opinion. They're probably going to be the equivalent to maybe, let's say, I want to say maybe a marauder, or maybe a centurion, maybe, and then while the regular troopers would be the regular collectors themselves, the regular collector troopers, right? And well, that's the enemies for the new faction for collectors, right? But they also are including more enemies in the other factions. For instance, Service, they're getting a Dragoon character, and they didn't really say who the Dragoon character was going to be, but based off of the trailer which I saw, if you guys actually want to check out the trailer, I'll leave a link in the description below. You guys can check it out there. And basically, what I saw from the video was there's this guy fighting another ex-Service character, and I was wait a minute, why are these two people on the same team fighting against each other? And I noticed that this ex-Service character was the guy with the whips, and I was thinking to myself, they are mentioning a new Dragoon character in the Service group. Maybe this Dragoon character is the guy with the whips, and they're finally making this ex-Service character with the whips and whatnot as an enemy, which is pretty cool because it makes it more interesting, in my opinion. Another enemy that's going to be added to the current faction is the Geth. The Geth are actually getting new drones. They don't really explain what kind of drones, just new drones in general. Maybe like drones that look like little mini Geth, or maybe drones are a little bit more powerful and they're a little bit more faster and smarter, maybe. Who knows, right? Especially with this new patch coming out, it's that's probably going to be really great. It's going to make the enemy AI a little bit more smarter, but we'll just have to see how that goes, right? So far, I think just adding the new enemies, the collectors, if you would, and the additional enemies in the other factions, I think that alone is like a good standalone DLC as we speak, right? But fortunately for us, there's a lot more. For instance, they have new classes, all right, and the new classes for now are a Turian Havoc Soldier and a Turian Ghost Infiltrator, right? And as you can see the picture here, there's this Turian guy that looks like freaking Boba Fett. I mean, literally, this guy looks like Boba Fett, right? The only difference, obviously, is the arms and the hands, but his visor and everything, and he even has a jetpack. If you guys check out the trailer, like I said before, there's a whole bunch of parts actually, where this Turian character is flying in midair and shooting people from overhead. To be honest, that's cool. Not only the fact that you're flying, but the fact that you can use this as a strategy. While one person's aiming from above, the other person can aim from below, and then the enemies can get like, what the hell, am I supposed to shoot up or down? This is going to provide a good strategy base. Also, the fact that you can probably reach ledges and second floors really quickly rather than going through the stairs and whatnot. You can just automatically just jump on board too. So that's going to be pretty cool. I'm probably going to play this character a lot because he reminds me of Boba Fett. Like, really? This guy looks like Boba Fett. That's just badass. And they also said that they're going to add more characters on a regular basis. I don't know really what that means. Are they going to add more characters as of now? Like they're still kind of building this DLC, and when it comes out October 9th, they're going to have all the characters done. But really, by the time you guys are watching this, it's probably going to be October 5th, October 6th. And so, that leaves them only 3 days to basically make new characters up. I don't know what they're going to do. They really didn't announce much, but we just have to wait, right? Most likely what I think is they're going to release more characters later on in the month or so, or maybe later on throughout the year. Another new thing about this DLC is that they're actually going to add hazard versions of existing maps. And you're probably wondering, what the hell is a hazard version? Well, based off of the BioWare website, basically it's environmental hazards and traps, right? And it's a regular rotation of fire bases that will introduce different hazards as they come under attack. For instance, if you're in fire base, the Tuchanka level, you might get a sandstorm, right? And let me tell you what different environmental hazards they are. There's acid. Doesn't really say if it's acid rain or acid, flood or something. It just says acid, right? I'm assuming acid rain. There's going to be lightning strikes, which that's going to be pretty cool, in my opinion. You running around a base and then out of nowhere, poof, a thunder strike. Meltdown. Don't know what that means. Maybe I'm assuming for the reactor level, you're running around, and if you're inside one of the cores and stuff, it starts reacting and radiation starts hitting you, and you start losing life or you die instantaneously. Who knows how that's gonna happen? Then there's a sandstorm, which, like I said before, most likely would be on Tuchanka or any other desert place. Swarms. I think the swarms are probably going to occur. If you guys are probably seeing the picture right now, this is fire-based glacier, so most likely that's going to occur there, and maybe it's going to occur in the fire-based jade, because it has like a very very jungle-like feeling to it, so it kind of would fit the swarm aspect of it. And then finally, there's the whiteouts. Whiteouts, I don't really know what a whiteout is. I do know what a blackout. Blackout basically lights going off and everything. By whiteout, I just can't remember. I remember hearing it somewhere and knowing it and whatnot, but I just kind of forgot what a whiteout was. But yeah, there's going to be a whiteout in it, whatever that means. So that's pretty cool. They're adding actual environmental risks in the game. My question is this going to be an option that you can set? So for instance, you don't have to have these hazards on, or it's something permanent that's going to be happening throughout the game. But either way, I think it's a great addition to the game. It's actually going to make the game much better. It's going to make the game more exciting and more, great and whatnot. But we just have to see how that works out, right? Another thing that the DLC is going to have is actually unlockable weapons. Obviously, it's very typical in most multiplayer DLCs for Mass Effect 3 that they're going to have more weapons in here. But here they're actually going to have the Collector Assault Rifle, Collector Submachine Gun, and the Collector Sniper Rifle. I wonder how those guns are going to be, because lately a lot of the DLC weapons are kind of shitty, especially the latest one, which was the Argus Assault Rifle, which I heard from a lot of people was utter shit and crap, but we just have to see about that, right? Obviously, there's going to be new upgrades and stuff, new ammo, new weapon upgrades and things like that, right? So we just have to see about that. What else it's going to have? Well, guess what? They're actually adding a new feature to the game called multiplayer challenge. And basically, multiplayer challenge is, you know, when you play your typical Call of Duty or any other FPS game out there, or any other game nowadays, they have these little achievements that you can get while playing it. For instance, if you get, let's say, 10 biotic kills within the first 2 waves, or if you use let's say, the Argus Assault Rifle 100 times in one match, or you do 100,000 damage with the Cerebus Harrier in one match, or something like that, right? Very typical in most games, and even the single player has this, but it has it as trophies, right? But here they're actually going to have it as a challenge. So rather than you just earning it one time only, you actually accumulate it over time, so you can actually repeat it. So you can get, for instance, one of them here is the Cerebus Harrier use. So you can probably collect that over, let's say, 10, 100 times over if you want, and you get these challenge points, right? And that's another new aspect to the game, is challenge points, right? And you're probably wondering, what the hell is a challenge point? Well, with these challenge points, you can actually get cool in-game multiplayer bonuses. This is not me saying cool. This is the actual website saying cool in-game multiplayer bonuses with quotation marks, with my fingers and whatnot. New titles and new banners. And you're probably wondering, new titles and new banners, you mean like in Call of Duty where you have your emblem and your background and whatnot? Yep, exactly like that. As you can see in the picture here, there's a picture of the leader of the squad. Has a background of, it looks like a Asari Justicar with like the Citadel in the background, right? And then it has kind of like a title underneath the name We Are to Sony, where it says Council Operative. That is pretty interesting. Then you can go on to the next one. It has the Alliance symbol with Earth in the background with the name James Vega, and underneath that it says Survivor. And then it tells you, goes on to the next one where there's a guy who's basically a Krogan soldier. It says Erdon Grunt, and it says Dog of War, and it has the emblem of like a skull with the background of a whole bunch of Krogans and whatnot, right? And then finally, you got the person who plays as a demolition engineer, and it's Synthesis Edie, and it's basically a mathemagician, and it has like a background with an Omni tool and whatnot. Oh, excuse me, there I got a little hiccup. So basically, and also the fact that they changed, I don't know what this is. This is probably the actual N7 points. You see the 55, 15, 370, and 30. I'm assuming that's the N7 points that you have. You're basically your level of your expertise, your experience, and whatnot. But I'm wondering how this title thing works. Is the title thing only works like kind of like, oh, you're the killer, you're the dog of war, you're the survivor. And also what I'm wondering is, if they show Liara Tassoni here, does it mean that the nickname that you get to pick when you create a character sticks with you so other people can see it? Because to be honest, it really doesn't make sense that you're making a character and then you make up this name, but the name doesn't come up online, it only shows your gamer tag. Like, okay, yeah, I would like people to know this is my gamer tag, but I would like to know what I name my character. You know, what's the point of naming your characters? It's just stupid if no one's looking at it, right? And so I'm wondering if they're gonna add that feature where people can actually look at your new character and whatnot. Because I have a lot of characters. I got one guy named Boba Fett. I got one named Bosk. I got another guy named Dengar. Yeah, those are Star Wars bounty hunters. Star Wars is one of my favorite freaking franchise, but whatever, that's a story for another day, okay? And basically that's it. That's all the DLC is going to contain. You know, new characters, you're going to finally play against the collectors, new weapons, new characters to play with, like the Turian Boba Fett. You get to also have new environments with environmental risk hazards, which is pretty cool in my opinion. You also get a challenge mode, which basically allows you to, not challenge mode, but a challenge feature, which allows you to accumulate challenge points, which then you can use to buy, for instance, you know, titles and emblems and banners and other multiplayer bonuses and whatnot. Really, they haven't released that much detail on the actual challenge feature yet. They just kind of give us a little quick idea of what it is and whatnot. Hopefully by October 9th, which will be in a few days actually, you know, we'll be able to download it and see what this, you know, multiplayer challenge feature is all about, right? And that's pretty much it for this DLC Retaliation. To be honest, this is like the biggest multiplayer DLC out so far. Even they themselves said this is the biggest multiplayer DLC we have. There's no other DLC in comparison. Obviously comparing to the other Mass Effect 3 DLCs, okay? And so this is going to be great. You know, we get a new faction of enemies to fight against, we get new weapons, armor, all this stuff, okay? I can't wait for it. I know you guys can't wait for it. Hopefully this will bring in more people to play the multiplayer, because I know I'll be playing this a lot more now with all these new features, okay? Remember, this comes out October 9th. It's free. You don't have to pay a dime, okay? So you people out there don't complain that you have to pay. You don't have to pay shit, all right? And this is how multiplayer DLCs should be in the future for all games, okay? And that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. You know, I talked about the new patch that's coming out that's going to fix a lot of problems, okay? I talked about the trilogy and all the, you know, what DLCs are going to be on it. Then I also talked about the N7 Bounty Weekend that's coming out this weekend. Remember, it's October 5th to the 7th, and then on Tuesday we get this new multiplayer DLC, okay? So that's pretty cool. And that's all I have to say, alright? So comment, rate, and subscribe. And tell me, guys, what do you think about this Retaliation multiplayer DLC? You think it's going to be good, or it's actually going to freaking make the game worse, right? To be honest, I don't know how it's going to make it worse. But hey, I want to hear your opinion about this multiplayer DLC, okay? And tell me, what do you think would be the hardest faction now? Would it be the Collectors, Cerebus, Reapers, or the Geth, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Mass Effect news update. So this is Primus. Keep it crunchy and peace out.